Today I will show you how to back up this Aruba 6000 switch via PowerShell. So we will create a little LAN here with my Fortinet FortiGate. I think it's a 60E or G or something. And I have also a laptop. So we are going to make a small little LAN out of this and back up this switch. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Alright, so yeah, let's plug it in. This switch is completely factory reset, so we are going to hook it up towards this FortiGate. It's also pretty much a vanilla router. You can have a router or a firewall like this, and I know that these ports are configured to put out a DHCP address, so the Aruba switch will get an IP address and the laptop will get an IP address also on the same LAN. And yeah, as I said, it could be your home router. You don't need a enterprise or small business firewall for this. It's just to get IP addresses to the default Aruba switch and my laptop. So let's jump in to the desktop on my laptop and I will open up PowerShell. We actually don't need PuTTY or any other fancy terminal program. We can use PowerShell because it has an SSH client built in. But we can make a command like arp-a to figure out what IP addresses our devices got. So my laptop got 110 on this LAN, and I know that the FortiGate is .99, the firewall. So probably the Aruba switch is .111. .255 is the broadcast address on this LAN, and these are multicast. So yeah, .111 is for sure the Aruba switch. It kind of matches up the DHCP address also, the next one after mine. So let's try that. I know that the admin is the default login for the Aruba switch, and I factory reset it before we started the video, so it should be admin, and here we can see yes, it responds, and here we press yes to add it to our known hosts. Password is blank, so here you will just hit enter in this case, and we will create a new password for the switch, or for the admin user in this case. And here it says please configure the admin user account password, so I will put in a password and it will ask me again to confirm the new password. Alright, so we are in the switch. It's an Aruba 6000, so the prompt actually looks like this, 6000. And we can begin to do a page command. And what this does is that I don't have to press the more button like the space or enter to get the whole config of the switch, otherwise it would stop after every page. So page 1000, and now it will put the whole config if I type show running config, and that makes it a bit easier to actually copy it directly from this terminal window. And we can see if I do, is it show IPDHCP, I think it should have gotten an IP address from the FortiGate firewall, and here we can see it's on VLAN 1, that's the default one. It got 111, my gateway, and yeah, it actually got some DNS servers also, but it's not configured to access the internet, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, so how do we actually copy this config? We could hook it up to a TFTP server, but there is actually a more easy way to do it. You see current configuration. If we just highlight everything after that down to the prompt 6000, and we just do a Ctrl+C to copy the config, we can open up a Notepad and just paste it in there. If you actually want to make this config that you save, of course save the text file. In this example I'm not gonna save it because yeah, it's just a standard vanilla config, so I will just keep it here. And but we actually have the config now, row for row, and let's sabotage it. Why not? So I can show you how to easily restore it. So we go into the configure terminal. I make a new VLAN, and we can exit out of the VLAN configuration. And yeah, let's put this VLAN on, for example, port 1 to port 10. So we type interface 1-1-1 to 1/1/10. Then we can configure all these interfaces at the same time. And we type VLAN access 666. So now these ports will actually have the port 1 to 10 on VLAN 666. So if I do a show running config here, we can see that, yeah, it actually changed. And we don't want that. So how can we now restore it from this little sabotage? Well, aren't we lucky that we have a copy of the whole config? There is no more config than these lines, and that's good with a CLI copy, because it shows everything. When you go into the web config, for example, and you just have a look, you will not see everything that is configured on the switch actually. So here we do write memory to really rub it in and save this sabotaged config. And now we can power off the switch if we want to, or just yeah, pull the cord, and this config will be the one that is saved. So just to demonstrate, I will exit out of the switch, and I do a Control L here to clear the screen, and let's SSH into the switch once again, and we will put our new password in. Okay, so we should be logged in to the switch right about now. And if I do a show running config, we should indeed see this config that we do not want. So here we also can see what I talked about, the more and the enter and the space. So this is what happens when you don't type page, for example 200, 300. But I typed page 1000 to get the maximum value, so that it will show 1000 lines at once. And if we go into the configure and we pull up our Notepad, it's actually as easy as this to just copy the Notepad contents, and then you just right click into the PowerShell terminal, and it will ask you, do you want to paste this? And you say paste anyway, and it will configure the switch line for line. So if you are in the config terminal while doing this, everything actually got configured back to how we started this video. We can do show running config again, and you will see that indeed all the interfaces are back to the default VLAN access or untagged VLAN 1. As we didn't have anything to delete, it didn't know about this VLAN. When we did the backup, it's still there, but we can remove it if we want to, of course. So we can type no VLAN 666. Alright, so that's how you easily can back up your switch with PowerShell. Don't forget to like the video if you learned something, and subscribe. So see you guys later. Bye bye.